frequently asked questions. We get a lot of questions. And you know, the number one place I get questions is actually on Instagram, which is very funny. But feel free to email us your questions at any point. Instagram is also great. You can also just go to our website, and then there's an immediate option for you to send us a message. So anything that comes of mind, please, 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 please send us their questions. Why should you have a trade account with us? There's a lot of reasons, but I'm going to just list some of my favorite. Number one, you get exclusive access to rug collections that nobody else gets. They're not available to the public. They're just available to the trade. We have done several videos, and we do Zoom conferences. We'll do anything. If you want a Zoom appointment, what have you, presentation for your staff, we will happily walk you through our various exclusive collections and why you should be using them, why you should be modifying them, and how to incorporate them into any project. That's number one. Number two, we do a concierge service for shipping. Almost all of our rugs include shipping. The only exception would be oversized rugs beyond 12 by 15. Those ones, they have a little bit extra, but otherwise we'll still take care of it. Get it to your receiver, get it to your project, whatever you would like. That's always fun. But you know, I think in this day and age, designers are professional logistic managers. The number one reason to use our trade-only program is collaboration. We are stronger together. Creatives work better as a hive mind, and bringing together different levels of expertise. Not only do you get to work with us and our design expertise in designing the rugs, but we will be by proxy working with our weavers directly. So if we have any questions or modifications that we need to make, we can do that together. We can explore different ideas. We can explore different fibers and have a really great creative experience that is one of a kind. So people will often ask about the type of construction. Well, they actually won't. They'll just be like, is this going to be good for this space? Is this rug good for this space? And then we start talking construction. So it's a little bit complicated, but if it's viscose, it's not great for high traffic areas, especially wet traffic areas. Not great. 100% New Zealand wool is wonderful. We love our Persian knot, which is a square knot, which is super durable. And on our website, we list very carefully with each rug if it's a high traffic area, a medium traffic area, or if a low traffic area. Lead times, everybody's favorite conversation these days. Well, our lead times are great news because we have a ton of in-stock options, number one. Our custom colorways we can do in about 4 to 6 weeks. You also have the option to do a rush order, which is amazing. And depending, it's always about size. Like if you need a 12 by 15 of something or a custom size, then it has to be remapped and it's going to take longer. So, you know, that's probably a 4 to 6 month process for rug design, but still it's made faster if it's one of our custom or our stock options if you're going to modify a size. Something to also know about lead times is that if you're going to do a very fine design, especially when we're working with some of our rugs that are 100% natural silk, those babies, especially if they're big, are 6 to 9 months. It's just, think, finer fiber, smaller knots, more knots, it takes longer. But we do our very, very best to give you a lead time at the time of ordering. And then we do check-ins with you along the way. And when we get progress photos, we will send them to you so that you can also share them with your clients. Because right now, in this day and age, knowledge is power. And if there's going to be a delay, we'll let you know. Sampling. Yes, it's available, always. We do have some samples. We made a choice when we were starting this business to not do a huge sampling program because it adds a huge amount of cost to the end result. And we wanted to give designers options. So we also have our color strips and we have several samples of each of the rugs that we can send to you. If you want us to have it couriered to you, that's easily done. Just give us your account information and we can send that out. Or you're always welcome to come into the studio and see it in person, and or we can do Zoom calls. I don't love doing video meets to sort of see, touch, feel that way. But In a pinch, yes. And we've also done something that other people do not do with their rugs. I don't like working with Pantone because everybody has a different Pantone deck and no one has the right deck that, to make sure that it's mono a mono. But we do work with Sherwin-Williams paint chips, and many of our stocked rugs are already have the paint colors that correspond with the color strips, so that you can sort of look at a paint chip and go, oh, that's the right type of teal, that's the right red. Yes, this would work, because you're experienced, you're a professional, and you know how color will translate. And if it's close enough to work with the paint chip, then the rug will work in the room. So another question, well, I ask this question of people more than people ask me, because they don't think they know to ask me. But how do you compare apples to apples? So we list everything, our knot density, what fibers we're using, it's hand knotted versus hand loomed. Like, it's all on there on our website. Our website, you can just actually go onto our website and click buy. You don't have to ever talk to me, really. I mean, I'd love you to talk to me, but you could just hit buy. But we've listed all of this. And when we first started this in 2019, there was nobody that did this and had anything. And I have noticed there's a huge retailer that may or may not, have borrowed one of our designs. They are now listing all their rugs 100% New Zealand wool or 100% wool, hand knotted. But they don't have, like, their descriptions are still really quite vague when you read them. But at least we've made some change. People in the marketplace are now starting to at least, tell you what type of construction it is. And, just remember that anything that is tufted is made with glue. Glue in a North American climate will break down and crack, and there will be excess shedding, and it will fall apart. And the glue is not compatible with liquids of any kind. But New Zealand wool, people are using more New Zealand wool, and they're saying they're using more New Zealand wool. That's amazing. But you again have to look at the knot count, and then look at the price per square foot. You can easily do that when you're on a website. You can get the price per square foot, and then, ask questions. That's my favorite thing to do. If you're going to a showroom, ask them questions about their knot density. Is it 120 knot? Are they using Tibetan knots? But is it made in India? Because if it's made in India, why are you using Tibetan knots to reference it? Is it 532? Is it 1034? Is it 9 by 12? Like, what are all the hallmarks? And start to educate yourself. The thing is that when you start to do that and you start to doing your comparisons, you start to feel more confident about your choices. And you'd also notice that our pricing is phenomenal. Okay, next question. How long does it take to get an 8 by 10 custom rug? Now, let's be very clear. Custom means either custom colorway of one of our stocked designs, or one of our stock designs that you might be changing the size on. So the color isn't changing. It doesn't need to be remapped, other than you might be changing the size. So for those, we usually say that you should expect it to be under 4 months. Now, the customized colorways that we have, like 4 options per stocked rug, those are already pre-dyed. That's what saves the time. We've already made those choices. We know what the colors are, and we have stock base materials that are pre-dyed so that you can get it onto the loom much faster. For anything when you're changing the size, you've got to add in another 3 weeks for mapping time, where we send it to be rendered. We make sure that you get to look at it, you get to make any tweaks to it. And that can also quickly become a bespoke rug, because there might be some modifications that have to be made that ultimately change the design. But usually I would factor on about 3 weeks for that rendering process if you want to change the size. Another option that we're happy to do is to provide you with our own design that's designed for you, where you become the client, you tell us what you want to see, and we work to tell the story that you're ultimately trying to tell for your client. Some people do not feel comfortable working in a bespoke design setting for this, and they might have the kind of the overall idea, but they really want us to go through the creative process for you. And we're happy to do that and give you a quote on what that timing would look like.